my name is Ella Dalton. I am the costume designer for the project Birdsong in Bedlam. I've been asked to create a small video about my creative process, how I create characters and what I use to do it. So hopefully this video could be informative if you're interested in creating character art. And yeah, let's get started. Moving on to software, I use the program Paint Tool Sci version 2. It's great because it's a software essentially built for artists by artists. It's far less finicky than programs like Photoshop and GIMP, and what is brilliant about it is just how open it is in terms of creating brushes. So if you want a brush that is more watercolour based, they do have watercolour brushes, but you can then edit them to have different effects based off of what you're going for. You can have hard brushes, like ones built for line art. You can have soft brushes built for colouring and shading. It's so open and it's so easy to use, and I always recommend it to people who are looking for a program to draw with. So let's begin with hardware. I use the XP Pen Artist 12. It is a display tablet, so rather than having to look at a different screen while drawing, you draw directly onto the tablet. It's great for people who feel more comfortable with traditional drawing, so paper. It very easily translates and it can get you drawing digitally so much faster. What I love about the XP Pen line is that it is far cheaper than the more industry standard Wacom line, the Cintiqs, and it essentially offers the same thing. It is light, it is durable, it connects to your device of choice, it comes with a pen, and you can basically use it anywhere. Yeah, I would highly recommend it to artists who want to take that leap into digital art but perhaps don't have the means to purchase a Cintiq. So let's talk about character design. Character design is very much a process. You don't really come into character design with a finished idea. You work with different versions, different variants, until you eventually reach one that both you and the people you are working for feel adequately represent the character you're working with. So for this instance, I will use the character of Morana. This was the first design I presented, quite grand, quite bulky, and you can see from the changes that came about just how much a character changes in the process of development. So we went from this, and the final design we chose was this one. Quite simple, but what's good about it is it very clearly shows who the character is. She is the goddess of death and life. Here is the finalised line art built from the sketch which I showed just before. As you can see, I try to keep the line art very easy to follow, because when it comes to colouring, if your line art's sort of jagged and not straight and easy to follow, it makes colouring far harder than it needs to be. I initially start with black line art, and then in order to show darker colours, because this design is quite dark, I changed the line art to be sort of warmer, sort of a gold colour. And then we move on to colour. This is the final version of colour for Morana. This is all the layers that I use. So Sci, kind of similarly to Photoshop, is built off of layers. I am quite I'm quite specific about the layers that I use. And if I can show you an example from, let's say, the skin. These are the layers of detail. So if I take them back a bit, you will see the change. This is the quite simple colouring that was initially used, and then if we work our way forwards, I create a layer of just really subtle detail just to stop bringing the skin out, to make it look more three-dimensional. Then I add quite dark shadows. So again, to make the skin look three-dimensional, to make it look textured as skin is. And then is the final one, and that is a even darker version. So that sort of sets the skin together. And I basically do that for all the layers. So if we have a look at, for instance, her corset, if we take the layers and hide them, you'll see the detail sort of fade off. This is the base colour, and then yeah, this is the textured version. This is some shadow, and that is some lighting just to bring out the texture of the corset. So another similarity to Photoshop that Sai has is the layer effects you can use just to make your pieces pop, give them some life, give them some light and maybe shadow. I've brought up a different character here, this is Lucifer, just to show you a little thing that I do. You can make layers called overlay layers. As you can see, the one for Lucifer is quite red, it's quite dark because that is his base colour, it's red. So if you look very carefully, when I remove this layer, it's hard to see, but with the overlay layer on, it brings a redness to the character which you wouldn't normally be able to sort of give. And it just brings the piece together in a way that is really subtle, kind of hard to see without really looking for it. But it's just a little thing that I do to keep the colour palette together and yeah, bring the different colours together in a way that makes sense for the characters. There's also a really simple thing I do for the eyes. Obviously eyes are the window to the soul. You want to make them look alive with characters. So what I do is I take a shine layer and I add just some light to the eyes. So this is it without it, and this is it with it. It's subtle, but it kind of, I don't know, it just makes the character look more alive in a way. Here is the final design for Lucifer, and here is the final design for Morana. Hopefully you can tell just how much texture and detail I tried to put into these designs. I really wanted them to pop. I wanted each design to sort of feel like it belongs to the character, that the character is their own person. And Birdsong and Bedlam focuses quite heavily on symbolism, and I wanted that to come through. So Morana is very much associated with death, so she has skulls, she has feathers, raven feathers, and quite an obvious symbol for time here with the hourglass. Lucifer is quite associated with anger, with wrath, so that's why he's got this burn going on, and he's got a matching feather to Morana. Just little things to tie the characters together, to make them feel like they belong as a group. And yeah, hopefully that comes through in the designs that I finalised for this project. That about wraps up my video about my creative process for the project Birdsong and Bedlam. Hopefully this has been informative, hopefully you've liked it. If the project interests you, definitely check out their Facebook page and consider going to see it. It's going to be in the Royal Albert Halls in Bolton in October, so pick up a ticket, you won't regret it. And yes, thank you so much for watching, stay safe and have a good day. Bye.